guys, in this video I'm going to run you through the exact proposal generator system that I've used within my automation business to close clients that have companies worth anywhere up to 8 and even 9 figures. If that sounds like something you'll be interested in, then be sure to stick around. So what you're looking at right here is an example of the type of proposals that I would send out to these clients. Everything you see highlighted in blue has been generated by AI. So automated content creation and management for Savvy Flow has been generated by AI. You've got a for, by, what client is this for, who is it by, a problem statement, solution statement to that automation. In this case, everything is related to automation, as my business is about automation and building custom automations B2B for businesses. So got a solution statement. Again, everything in blue is generated by AI. We've even got a timeline for each project, which is pretty cool. A pricing page, proposal terms, and also if you have testimonials, I'd highly recommend adding a testimonials page. I just haven't added them in this example proposal, but this is pretty much the exact proposals I would send out to these clients. Now heading into N8N, where all the magic happens, the engine of this entire automation. What happens in N8N is it'll watch for a Typeform to be submitted. So if we head into Typeform, it's a 30-second Typeform that you have to fill out about each client, it's just so AI knows, what kind of information should it be generating for the proposal. So what you submit is who's the client, their first name, last name, email, and company. What was the outcome of the call? What was the proposal sent? No fit, meeting no show. Then you paste a one sentence description of their business. What's their problem? What's your proposed solution? What services or platforms are you going to use during the development of this automation? How long do you think the project will take? How much do you want to charge? And are there any additional costs or costs for the platforms that you want to use during this automation project? You can, of course, customize this Typeform to however you want it within your business. This is just how I've set it up. So once a Typeform has been submitted, N8N will get all of the Typeform responses, and then we'll use those responses to generate the proposal using OpenAI, generate the timeline within the proposal using OpenAI again, and then what we do here is we use the template or a template within Google Docs to add all of the personalized information into. And then finally, what we actually do is move that lead down your CRM pipeline. In this case, I use ClickUp, so I move that lead down my ClickUp pipeline. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it out for you guys step by step. So what you have to do is create an N8N account if you haven't already, and then you'll have to just create a new workflow. Once you're in this workflow builder, what you'll need to do is add a first step and search for Typeform, a Typeform trigger. You'll need to create a Typeform connection if you haven't already. You'll need an access token, and to get an access token, you just go to your account in Typeform, go to your account settings, and you'll be able to see personal tokens, and you'll be able to generate a personal token there. It takes 30 seconds, it's super easy to do. And then what you want to do is select the form that you want to watch responses for. In this case, I'm going to use the discovery call proposal submission form. And first off, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run this, click test workflow, and I'm going to submit a Typeform response so that I can get some data into this automation so that I can add the dynamic variables that I need later on. I'm going to go OK. What was the outcome of the call? Proposal sent. Paste a one sentence description of their business. This is just very basic, very vague, and a high level of what their business does. SavvyFlow is a B2B custom automation agency that specializes in business operations. What's their problem? Right now, they're manually writing content such as articles, Twitter, LinkedIn, threads posts, etc., clipping up videos and editing them. They don't like this because it takes a lot of time and money. And it's leading to bottleneck their business from scaling. What's your proposed solution? Ideally, they'd have a content system that automatically sources new long-form videos and repurposes that video without human involvement at the core. Additionally, additional features may include automatic scheduling once generated content has been approved. What are the platforms or services that you'll use during this development? We'll use N8N, and we'll also use Clap API. For this example, we'll go okay there. How long do you think the project will take? Let's just say 4 weeks. How much do you want to charge? Say 3,600. And any additional costs for the platforms, let's just say 100. And then once we go submit, this data should be sent over to N8N. There we go, perfect. We can see everything's green. If we click on the node, we can see all the data, the first name, the last name, email, company, what was the outcome of the call, and all of this data, which is pretty cool. Now we can use this data to feed it into AI and generate the proposal itself. So first off, what we want to do is click the plus here, search in a filter, and we'll want to add a filter. So in here, we can see all our dynamic variables that we can use. The one we want to look for is what was the outcome of the call. And we'll want to drag that into this top part here. And we'll want to make sure this is equal to, and then proposal sent. So you can just write that in here. Proposal sent. Make sure that's correct. Yeah. So we can rename this as well. Otherwise I'll get a bit lost. Filter proposal sent. There we go. And now what we'll do is add another plus and go to OpenAI. Click on there, down to text actions, message and model. And this is where we're going to generate the proposal itself. So I'm going to rename this. Generate proposal from model. Let's just do 4.0. Search 4.0. Let's just do 4.0. And what I'm going to do is from this workflow, I'm actually going to copy through the prompts just for the sake of keeping this as short as possible. Assistant, add a message. You guys will have access to this, so you already have all these prompts within your workflow. We'll go in here, copy and paste all these. You can see there's many prompts because we just want to really more like examples of things within your prompts are better, so it minimizes the amount of mistakes. Of course, once the proposal is generated, it is ideal to have a person look over it for like 5 minutes. This should be assistant. So you can see every assistant prompt is kind of like telling, or is it telling? Yeah, so this should be, yeah, sorry. So this should be system. So a system prompt is basically what OpenAI should identify as. Assistant prompts are basically examples of what what OpenAI should output. Example outputs of what they should look like, what the output should look like from the personalized data that is fed into it. So that's what assistant prompts are. User prompts are just like standard prompts that you'll send into the ChatGPT interface that you normally do without APIs. And then we have a last prompt down the bottom, I believe. No, we have two more. So in here, I'm gonna paste this in as well. This is the user prompt, add message, and the last prompt is the rules. There's a lot of prompts here. Just really don't want, or just really want to minimize the amount of errors that AI makes here. Kind of structure everything very well. That's the goal here. Now what I'm going to do is head back into the Typeform trigger and pin this data so we can use this data here over and over and over again without the need to head into Typeform and submit a new form each time we want to test the workflow. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run here, test workflow, and just look at the output that it generates. Again, you guys will have access to all the prompts. I'll provide access within this workflow, so that's nothing to worry about. And here we can see you've got a problem pitch, and then all of the other data in here, the solution. What else have we got? Tools there, title there. So I've got a whole bunch of different data, but now we need to format this data so it's easier to look at rather than just being a big lump of data in one message. So what we're going to do now is add a set variable, or a set node, I should say. And then we're going to do, let me actually just look at this in here quickly. Yes, okay. I thought something was wrong. So in here, we need to output as JSON. So if you head into the OpenAI node, then just click this, output as JSON. This should fix that issue of it all being clumped inside one piece of message, one piece of data. Yes, there we go. So now, once you click to output as JSON, we get these different dynamic variables that we can use. So we can use business description. Let's just use the same name, description. And then drag business description into here. And we'll do this for each of them. Problem pitch. Drag that in here. Solution pitch. Drag that in. Oh. Title. So title to the proposal. And tools. There we go. So you can see here is all of that personalized proposal information that was in the proposal itself. So now we've got that data, which is pretty cool. Now what we can do with it is pretty much add it into our proposal template, which I'll show you guys in a second. But first, what we also need to do is head into another OpenAI module. So if you click the plus down here again, OpenAI, and message another model under the text actions. I'm also going to copy and paste these prompts just for the sake of keeping this as short as possible. So if we go in here, you're a helpful, intelligent writing assistant. This is pretty much always what I use. I always use this prompt at the start. It's worked pretty well. I've never had an issue with it, so I continue to use it. GPT-4o. Go on here. System, user. Solution. Another one. Prompt. Okay, and these should all be assistants. Just basically providing ChatGPT with examples of what the output should look like. And then here we have user. This also holds all the dynamic data, the solution pitch, and also using that data from how long you think the project is going to take from the Typeform response, and we'll want to output this content as JSON again. So now we can run through this again, testing all the time. Want to make sure each step is kind of working as expected. So there we can see the proposal's been generated, and let's give a little look into if the timeline has been. Milestone 1, time zone, week 2, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So if you remember, we submitted that we thought the project was going to take 4 weeks. So AI has generated a custom 4-week timeline, which is pretty cool. And now we can use this to add to the timeline within the Google Doc. So now what we're going to do is we want to add all this information into the Google Doc itself. And how we do that is you want to create a template. And this is what the template looks like. So here you can see everything in blue is going to be replaced with the information that AI generates. And all of this information has been, or all of this, the parts in blue have been encompassed in curly braces. This is extremely important, just so it can, N8N can identify what parts of the proposal that it needs to replace. It's just a way so it can uniquely identify exactly what points in the proposal it should replace. And yeah, every part of this template has slightly different names that are encompassed in curly braces. For example, if client first name in curly braces, and instead of this being sender first name was also client first name, these two names would be the same. It would be the client first name and the client first name. So they'll be the same values. And it wouldn't be the sender first name and then the client first name. So this could be like, imagine this is you, this could be Seb. Seb. You want that to be Seb and you want this to be Josh. But if these are the same curly braces here, then this would also be Josh if they were the same, or they'll both be Seb if they're both the same. So you just, basically what you want to do is ensure that each one of these are different in some way. So I'm just going to put that back to there. So like here, they're different. Client first name, and then this should be sender first name, and this is client first name, because I want those values to be different. But if they're the same, they're going to be the same. Which in some cases you will want, and in other cases you will want them to be different. So just ensure that those names within the curly braces are different. Now, yeah, everything you want to be generated custom by AI, just encompassing curly braces, I'd recommend. And yeah, so heading back into N8N, what we want to do is go to Google Drive. So if we go to Drive, and then search in within Google Drive, get a file. Should be get a file. No. Search files. That's the one. And then you want to connect your Google Drive account. Again, super easy. You just sign in with Google pretty much. Depending on the account, actually, you might have to get the client ID and client secret. There'll be some tutorials around on YouTube how to do that. And now what you want to do is find the folder name. I'd prefer to... Okay, I'll just add the folder name. So just copy and paste the templated folder name into here, into the search query. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. I'm not sure this will work. Let's see. Okay, it did work. Perfect. So now what we've done is we've got the ID to this templated proposal, and we've got the name, but the name doesn't really matter. What we want here is the ID. So now we can use that ID to add a Google Docs node, get a document, and then by the doc ID or URL is we take this Google Doc ID from the Google Drive node and drag it in here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be able to get this Google Doc with all of its values, including all of the curly braces, which is going to be important for replacing the data. So now I'm going to run this again. I just want to have all the data updated down to here. Here we go. Now you can see all of the content within that Google Doc is in this content section. Now what we can do is add another Google Docs node and use the update node, update a document, Google Doc ID. We can use the same ID from the Google Drive node, but we're going to use it from the Google Docs node. Drag in the document ID into this section. And then what we're going to want to do is in the actions section, I'm not going to do this entirely because it'll take too long, but what you'll want to do is go down into the object text, that's correct, and then in the action, go find and replace text. So in here, this is the title, client project description. Copy this curly brace into the old text, make that fixed, make sure it's not an expression, and then the new text will be the title generated by AI earlier. So you can see here, title. So drag that title in from that set node earlier in the automation and drag it into here. And then what you want to do is do this for every section within the proposal that has curly braces. So for example, the second one, you want to do find and replace text. Old text is for client company name. Copy this in, paste this in here, make sure it's fixed. Client company name. Client company name can actually be found within the Typeform responses. So if we head down here, the client company name is here. So if we drag and drop this company into here, that's Savvyflow right there. And then the second one, do the same thing, find and replace old text, go into your template, client first name. Oops, wrong one again. Client first name, make it fixed. And then you can also take this from the Typeform trigger, first name, and then you can do this again, and you just kind of rinse and repeat. Do the same with the client last name, etc. And then down here, I'll do client problem area. This will be some of the information generated by AI. So client problem area, if we scroll back up here to the generate proposal section and then the set node after that, you can see here the problem pitch, it's called here, and then you'll be able to add that in there. And then basically what you want to do is just do this with every single part. Okay, so real quick, what I wanted to show you guys is, for me with my automation projects, is I do a 50% deposit, and for N8N to know how much the value it should put in here, I just calculate the total cost of the entire project divided by 2. And how you divide a value by 2 is you'll take that value, so how much you want to charge, I'll drag and drop that into here, and then I'll do that value. I'll click space. I'll try to zoom in here for you guys. And then I'll click space and then /2. And it should do 36 divided by 2, 1800. Perfect. So just a quick tip there on how to do that. I want to get back to adding the rest of them. Takes quite a while. Okay, so I believe I have everything now. We'll soon see when I put the when we run the automation, but I believe I have everything now. You can see I added the timelines in there as well. Timelines are quite tedious to do, but the good thing is once you've done it and you won't have to do it again. So within these timelines, you can see client timeline 1, client timeline 2, and you have to paste those into here, client timeline 2, milestone 2, and then with the corresponding milestone 1, timeline 1, milestone 2, etc. So now we can run this, and this should work. So if we go into Google Drive here, there should be another proposal that is added in here. If there's not, we'll have to look into it. So just let this run out. I'll have to copy a document. I don't think I copied it. That's probably a good thing it didn't work. It's probably a good thing it didn't work. The reason being is because that's going to actually update my template when it shouldn't upload the template. It shouldn't update the template. It should update a new one. So in here, you'll need to click a plus, go to Drive, and then go copy file. And then we'll want to copy the file with this ID. So, actually, so copy file, add in the name to that file, template proposal save flow, add this. The new file name is going to be, if we go to the Typeform responses, first name plus last name, Seb Gardner proposal. Okay, and then we can actually delete this search node here. You can highlight and select delete, or you can just hover over the node and click the bin there. If we tidy this up, oops. If we run this, it's going to error at this node. So we run this through. What's an error? JSON ID. Okay. So now there should be, if we reload this. Yep, there we go. You can see Seb Gardner proposal. There's no space between the Seb and Gardner, however. So let's fix that up. Get into here, add a space right there. Now there'll be a space there. Okay. Now something is not working with this. Let's check the parameters. Okay. Okay. So it's with this calculation. There is an issue. So what I might do, let me see if I put this to a string or if I put it to a number. Let's give this 2 seconds to load. Generate. Okay, I did do it to a number, a string, sorry. So what it seems Google Docs is doing is it's looking at this number, the number that we divided by 2 from the total project cost, as it's perceiving that as a invalid number that it cannot paste into a Google Doc. So what I've done is we're transferring that number into a string, which you can see here at the start. So we're transferring it into a string. Now it should work. Now if I'm going to delete these two. We should see a proposal appear here in just a few seconds. If we reload this page, there we go. We click on here, and there we go. Efficient content automation system for Savvy Flow. Got the before and by. We might have to reformat it a bit. Oh, I didn't add in these ones by accident. Client company. So I missed a few stages, but you can see here, all of this generated by AI. This is where the 5 minutes of overview of the proposal comes in. You might have to format it a little bit. There's that 3600 divided by 2, 1800, subtotal, due now, 1800. And we got the terms. You need to add that client company in there. So that's super easy. What you do is just copy, paste that in here. Scroll down to the bottom, add action, alt text, stat, and new text. If you go down to Typeform, the client company will be in our responses. Company name there. There we go. So good thing about it, it might be a bit tedious at the start, but once you've done it, and you don't have to do it again. So if we rename this as well, generate timeline. We'll rename this set proposal info, copy, template, add info into template, into proposal. And now what we can do, this is kind of an optional extra, because now we've generated the entire proposal using AI, which is pretty cool. We've got all that personal information in there. But now what you can do as an additional extra is I have this example CRM pipeline within ClickUp here. You can see leads, clients, left, lost. Assuming that you already have this lead within your pipeline, for this example I'm going to show you, you'll automatically be able to push them down through this leads pipeline. And how you can do that is if you go into a ClickUp node, you go, I believe it's list all tasks. Or, okay, maybe not. Let's go down, fold actions, item actions. Let's see here. List actions. Get mini lists, tasks, get many tasks. Then what you want to do is create a ClickUp connection. Super easy again. You just sign into your ClickUp account and grant N8N access. And get many team name, Savvy Flow workspace. I want to do example sales folder name is CRM, list name, I want to be watching or getting all the tasks for the leads section of my CRM. So you can see there we went into example sales, CRM, then leads, and it'll get all the tasks within this section that we're looking at right here. So leads there, return all, and that should return all those leads. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, for this section, I'm going to delete this Typeform trigger just because I don't want to be generating proposals each time. Trigger manually for the testing purposes of here. I'm going to run this. So you can see here we get all the tasks. What we're going to be wanting to look at is the name. Name. And then we want to add a filter after this to only select the name of the person who we're sending the proposal to. So in that case, what I'm actually going to do is not do this. Okay, we're going to unpin this. So I'm going to run this through. Again. Just give it 2 seconds. We want to focus on this end part. Getting all the tasks. And then after it gets all the tasks, we want to add a filter here. This filter is going to make sure that the only lead we are extracting is the lead that we sent it to, sent the proposal to. So here we can drag and drop the name. This name is equal to, if we scroll all the way down to the Typeform trigger, is equal to first name, space, last name. And in this way, it'll only extract the lead that is the same as the lead from your pipeline, CRM pipeline, will only extract the lead from your CRM pipeline that is the same as the one you're sending the proposal to. Now the last step we can do is go into ClickUp again, and we can update a task. Update a task, here we go. Then what we can do is get the task ID. We can just drag and drop it from the filter here. And then we want to update the status. Just here, the status is going to be equal to, you can see here we have status, want it to be equal to details sent. But let's not put it there for now. Let's let the automation do that. Details sent. Let's see if this works. Also, what I want to do, now I think of it, is it could be good to add a link within that lead in the CRM, add a link in the description to the proposal itself. So if we go to content, go to template, if you copy and paste the template URL or the link and paste it into here, and then click expression, and then between the /D, / and then before the backslash, I believe, if we add a dynamic ID in here, so if we go back to the school docs where it holds the document ID, I believe this should work. We can actually test this here. Yes, it does work. So now let's test this. Now what it should do is it should move the Seb Garden lead automatically into a details sent status here. And then also when we click on the lead, within the description, so it should add a description here and then add the proposal link. The proposal link here. So let's see if it automatically does that. Okay. There we go. Oops. Let's run this. Part we want to be focused on. Let's say moment of truth. There we go. Details sent. And then we got that document ID to the proposal there. To the generated proposal. Perfect. And here is the entire proposal generated. And now every time you can do it, just submit a 30-second form, and this is done entirely automatically. You can change the prompts if you want to make them longer, and here they seem to be this problem and solution statements, and customized information seems to be pretty small here, which is a bit unusual, but with a bit of prompt playing around with, you can fix it up, no worries. And also what I would also add here is proposal link. Didn't seem to add it in there. So just add that proposal link in there. Into this one, sorry. That was the wrong workflow. Yeah, proposal link. Add the proposal link in there, and now you know it's the proposal link. This shouldn't. Yeah. So, delete that. So there you have it. The entire proposal generator system that I've used for all my clients, pretty much up to now. And it's worked very, very well for me. So, hope you guys learned something out of this video and hope you enjoyed it.